My name is Erica Gray. I'm a 35-year-old office worker. I've been married to my husband for 5 years. We met at the company where we both work, and after an office romance, we ended up getting married. We were originally in the same department, but after the marriage, my husband was transferred to another department. It was supposed to be me who transferred, but my husband had always wanted to work in the sales department, so there were no objections to the transfers as we both saw it as a way to improve our skills, and we continued living peacefully. About a year later, my husband started working more overtime and going out for drinks more often. Around the same time, I found out I was pregnant, and though I was irritated by my husband's constant drinking, I didn't have time to worry about it once the baby was born. However, after returning to work, we rarely saw each other, not even for lunch. I used to take my lunch with me, but now I didn't even bother. Since the child was born, I felt like we were drifting apart even more. I complained to him a little. "You're working overtime and going to a lot of drinking parties lately."
It's sales, so what do you expect? If you're going to complain, maybe you should earn enough so I don't have to work.
I had been working reduced hours at the company while the child was in kindergarten, and Steve seemed irritated by this. He would ask why we even had a child if it was going to inconvenience my job. Steve had been desperate to have a child when we first got married, but now he acted like he didn't want one anymore. It felt like he had completely changed. And after I complained to him, his behavior only got worse. I had already noticed that his style of dressing had started to change, and on Christmas, I realized his cologne had also changed. It was a younger, trendier scent than the one he used to wear. Recently, even his taste in music shifted. He found reasons to leave the house on weekends, and some days, he wouldn't come home at all, saying he was working late. It was obviously suspicious. I became more and more doubtful, but when I tried to check his phone, I found the lock code had been changed, making me even more suspicious, though I couldn't gather any solid evidence. One day, I wasn't feeling well and left work early to come home. Oddly enough, my husband's car was there, even though he was supposed to be at work. Something was wrong. After confirming that Steve wasn't in the car, I rushed to check inside it. After thoroughly inspecting it, I went into the house. I discovered something shocking, but I stayed calm and took a certain action before heading to my parents' house. I still wasn't feeling well, so I rested at my parents' house until it was time for the child to come home. Once I felt a bit better, I went back home as if nothing had happened. Of course, Steve was gone, claiming he had overtime again, and he didn't come home that night either. Time passed, and it was time for the company's annual social gathering. I left my daughter at my parents' house and went to the event. Since it was a large company, we held the event at a hotel banquet hall. Even though Steve and I worked at the same company, we attended separately. In fact, I didn't even know if Steve would be at the event since we barely talked anymore. I enjoyed the event with my colleagues, not worrying about him. Then, the president of the company took the stage. This was a yearly tradition where the president would show a video of the year's highlights. It was surprisingly popular among the employees, and everyone would watch intently. But this year was a little different. I went up on stage as well. My coworkers were surprised, but I had coordinated with the president, and we started the video. From the stage, I could see everyone's faces clearly, including Steve's. He mouthed to me with a smile.
What are you doing? Are you crazy?
I replied with one sentence. I hope you can keep laughing like that forever." Then I played the video. As the video played, Steve and the woman standing next to him, the president's daughter, Marie Cornell, had stunned expressions. And for good reason. It was a video of their affair. The video included recorded audio of their embarrassing conversations. "Steve, it's so nice being all cozy at home with you. It almost feels like it's our house."
It will be soon enough. I'm divorcing her right away because I want to be with you.
"Erica is so valued at work, but I can't stand her. I really want her to hit rock bottom." They laughed together in the video.
How did you get this?
Steve was shocked. "So how did I get the video?" "It all goes back to the day I wasn't feeling well. That day, I thoroughly searched the car, even checking the navigation system. Steve had a habit of leaving his car keys in the car and not locking it when he came home, despite my warnings for security reasons. This time, it worked in my favor. When I turned on the car and checked the navigation system, I found several destinations saved, including resorts and motels. Additionally, I found photos of them together and matching sunglasses in the car, solid evidence of their affair. Then, I went into the house. As I suspected, the two of them were getting cozy in the bedroom. Ever since the child was born, Steve and I had been sleeping in separate rooms, with me and the child sharing a room. When I went to Steve's room, I heard their voices, the same ones from the video, along with the sound of them being intimate. Although I had video evidence of them in bed, I refrained from showing it since it could be considered sexual harassment. Still, I gathered plenty of other evidence. I even hired a private investigator, and it turned out that they weren't very good at hiding their affair, as more and more evidence surfaced. With all this in hand, I decided to push Steve and Marie to rock bottom. And the place I chose to do it was at the company social gathering. Normally, married couples who both work at the company attend the event together, but I made sure Steve and I would attend separately. I never once mentioned the event to him. Then, I received information from the investigator that Steve and Marie had gone dress shopping together, ordering matching outfits for the event. That worked perfectly for me, so I let them carry on. Everyone in the company knew Marie was the president's daughter, and her reputation wasn't good. She was known as a spoiled princess, and many people didn't like her. Marie had been indulged from a young age, and she couldn't stand not getting what she wanted. There were rumors of her seducing men who were already in relationships, causing trouble for couples and even leading the president to pay off settlements. Because of that, many people in the company disliked her. "Hey, don't you think your husband and Marie are getting a little too close? There are rumors that she's after him." "Yeah, I've heard those rumors too." "How can you be so calm about it? You have a child together, and you can't just let Marie do whatever she wants." "I know, but..." Actually, I confided in some close colleagues, telling them about Steve and Marie's affair. I also told them I was going to show the video at the social gathering, so some of them were looking forward to it. And that brings us to today's event. In front of all the employees who expected to see the usual highlight reel from the president, I showed the footage of Steve and Marie. When I found out about their affair, I decided that the best way to get back at them was to record everything. I had hidden cameras in the car and in Steve's room to capture the evidence. I even edited the video myself, adding music and effects to turn it into a full-blown music video for the event. Actually, Everyone thought the president made the yearly highlight videos, but it was always me. I've always been a tech geek, and after I once fixed the president's computer, he took a liking to me and asked me to make the videos. He even gave me a big bonus for it, so I was happy to oblige. And this time, after I finished showing the video, Steve started yelling.
Showing a fake video like that is defamation.
This is the worst. Don't you know who I am? I'm the president's daughter. Yeah, you'd better stop or the president will fire you. Both Steve and Marie were yelling, but the loudest voice came from the president.
Enough. I told you I wouldn't clean up after you again, didn't I? Matching outfits and messing around with another married man. You're no daughter of mine.
Dad, how can you not believe me? It's all lies. I wouldn't do something like that. Steve is 10 years older than me. Why would I have a relationship with him? We just happened to stand next to each other. We're not even in the same department.
You can keep denying it all you want. I've already received all the evidence and certified documents from Erica. I don't believe a word you say. Now explain yourself to him.
A very handsome young man stepped forward. The room buzzed with whispers. It was no wonder. He was a handsome young man who also worked as a model. He was the grandson of the chairman of a very famous conglomerate and had appeared on television. The reason he was here was...
Nice to meet you. I'm Ash. I was engaged to Marie, who is over there, but I came here to break off the engagement. Marie, we were engaged because our parents arranged it, but it seems we live in completely different worlds. A person who engages in infidelity is the lowest of the low. Please never involve yourself with me again. It's really lucky that we're not getting married. I don't love you, so not marrying you is truly fortunate. However, you will have to take responsibility for the trouble you caused. Also, I came here and made a fool of myself specifically for this purpose. I will definitely be receiving compensation for this.
Turning his gaze towards me, Ash said,
I'm really sorry. I'll contact you later.
And with that, he left. The venue was in an uproar. It was true that Ash and Marie's engagement had been covered in weekly magazines, but those who knew Marie from the company couldn't believe it. Everyone thought it was a lie, but this time it was true. After Ash left. But that guy. He's so serious. Even when I said I liked him, we only met once a year, if at all. We never met alone, it was really boring. So I wanted some excitement, and I started seeing someone from the company, but in the end, he betrayed me until the very last moment. I'm really pathetic. She began to cry. The crowd was stunned. Then Marie, who hadn't been asked, started talking. Well, he was always bad-mouthing his wife, and he's good-looking for his age, right? And you know, Steve was willing to become like me. He was so pure, as if he had never been in a relationship before, and it was so much fun. Even though there's an age difference, being good-looking makes up for it. Plus, marrying someone as boring as Erica would be dull, and there was also a sense of volunteering, so I don't think I'm so bad. I wasn't being pampered, and I didn't make him spend money. So I don't think I should be scolded. So, is it true that Steve approached you first, or did you approach him? When I said that, the crowd started to giggle. Of course, even I couldn't help but laugh. It's only natural to find it amusing that two people of their age were behaving like that. Steve seemed to notice this and silenced Marie.
I didn't do anything. Marie said she would make me the president if I had a relationship with her. Since I wasn't getting good results in sales, I thought I'd use Marie to climb the ranks. So I used her. She's wealthy, and she bought me everything I wanted. Clothes, perfume, accessories, everything. You always saved money for the child, and you never bought me anything I wanted. So I was dissatisfied. But Marie kept giving me things. Of course, I had no intention of divorcing you. I just thought I'd use Marie to get ahead and then discard her. That's why I didn't tell you about the divorce.
You really? What's your point? Do you know that infidelity is wrong?
I know, but so what? I'm apologizing, aren't I? Anyway, you know it's going to be a huge problem if you use the president for this, right? Marie is the president's daughter. No matter how angry the president gets, his daughter will always be cherished. You might think you've made the president your ally, but you will ultimately be betrayed. Stop making your miserable life even worse. And just apologize to me and Manami, and it'll be over.
Ha! I'm stunned. I was so exasperated that laughter started to bubble up. Then the president said,
I have no intention of betraying Erica, and I won't be forgiving Marie. And what are you doing lecturing Erica? Steve, you're not in a position to act high and mighty. Actually, Erica is the one who makes the yearly videos for the company. Maybe you didn't know, but her PC skills are top-notch. Everyone in her department knows that.
With that, the employees from my department nodded in agreement.
Erica creates the company's website and formats for our business partners, and we also ask her to make videos. Her PC skills are really reliable, and her work is quick. She has a strong sense of responsibility. She's highly trusted within the company. Unlike those two scum over there. When I called her to discuss this incident, I had no doubts about Erica. Well, Marie's bad behavior contributed, but I suggested using this gathering to get revenge on you too. So Erica will never be fired.
With that, Steve collapsed.
Now, let's have a farewell party for Steve and Marie. Employees who have grievances should come up to the stage and express them freely.
As the president said this, people started coming up to the stage one after another. Since there were overwhelmingly more women, most of them probably had grievances against Marie. First, I agreed with many of the comments about Steve. Steve always pushed work onto us juniors and went out to cheat, right? Cheating while having such a wonderful wife as Erica is unbelievable. He's turned all the company employees into enemies. Instead of improving his skills, he blames the president's relatives. That's a scum's way of doing things. Steve was crying as he was attacked. Marie was trying to support Steve next to him, but Steve slapped her hand away.
It's your fault. Don't mess with me. I was trying to improve my skills through drinking parties and overtime, but because of you. Never come near me again.
With that, Steve left the room. When Marie tried to leave with him, she was stopped. Then the victims of Marie started speaking. I didn't cheat like Steve, but whenever I spoke to men, I'd get them to do favors for me, buy me everything I wanted, and lure them with things. I think men who fall for that are foolish. Oh, and there are victims among the women here, So I don't want to say too much, but I'm glad I'm away from a man who falls for a woman like Marie. Marie then said, "What's wrong with me? You've been blaming me all this time, but what have I done? Everyone is using Marie, right? So if there's someone to blame, it's the men, not Marie. Those women over there might think they're in love with their boyfriends, but your boyfriends are having a relationship with me right now. I'm not just with Steve. So being attacked like this is really a nuisance. Women are so stupid. They think they're the best just because they're in relationships or married. But that's not true, haha. When someone as cute, rich, and influential as me approaches, everyone comes to me. So why don't you try becoming like me? It's a big mistake to attack others just because you can't." Laughing, Marie showed no sign of apology. What a truly thick-skinned woman. Being rich and cute is fine, but having status is your father's, not yours. You have no status and aren't anyone's top priority. How can I say that? Because how many men are left around you? The men you're with now are desperately hiding the fact, which means they don't intend to break up. You're just a convenient woman for them. No woman aspires to be like that. Using your father's status to deceive people makes you the lowest of the low. This time, you interfered with my husband, so it's become public. Otherwise, you would have continued such behavior, right? That's unacceptable. I'll be claiming compensation. Fine. Go ahead and claim compensation. Dad? Pay for it instead. But since I was also a victim this time, give me a discount.
What are you saying? I won't be cleaning up after you. You need to pay for it yourself.
Huh? Dad?
Of course. Stop relying on others. You're an adult now. Deal with it yourself. This gathering is over. I apologize for the unpleasant end. Those who want to go to the after-party, go ahead. The company will cover the costs, so enjoy.
With that, the president handed the company credit card to the vice president for the after-party and moved on. I went home to my parents' house that day and, since I had the next day off, headed to Steve's place. Steve was sitting curled up in the living room. He probably hadn't slept at all.
I'm sorry, Erica. I really don't want to be with her. From now on, I'll take good care of the child and cherish the time with you. Since I got fired, I'll be a full-time house husband. So how about you work full-time instead of part-time? That way, it'll be good for both of us.
What are you saying? We're getting a divorce. And as for our daughter, does she even recognize you as her father? By the time she understands things, you won't be in the house, and how many days has it been since you came home before she went to bed? I don't need you anymore. We'll get a divorce.
That's not acceptable. I will never divorce. I love you. I just wavered a bit because I was given money. We'll live together from now on, and let's go on lots of trips.
Why should I be the one supporting you? From what I've heard, you view both me and Marie as nothing more than sources of money. You lack the responsibility of a family's main provider and engage in affairs. I have no intention of ever forgiving you. Besides, didn't you have relationships with other female employees before getting involved with Marie?
How do you know that?
After yesterday's gathering, an employee came to apologize to me. They admitted to having had an affair while pregnant. I forgave them, of course. You took that woman to a hotel when she was drunk, didn't you? So she can't be wholly blamed. Marie might have pursued you this time, but you were already inclined to such behavior. It's impossible for me. I'm even embarrassed that our daughter's father is you. Please, never contact me again. Also, the president said he wanted you to come to the company tomorrow despite it being a holiday. It seems there's something he wants to discuss. I've been summoned as well, so we'll go together.
I don't want to. I'll be fired and have to pack up my things, right?
That's not all. There's also the issue of compensation. If you don't come, things will get worse.
Compensation?
Of course. It's for my compensation, Marie's broken engagement compensation, and the refund for the hotel expenses charged to the company. I don't know how much money you have, but no one will help you. You need to pay up properly.
Why? Everyone's richer than I am, so you don't need to take money from me. Marie's fiancé, despite being a young heir and a model, seems to have plenty of money. He wears designer clothes every time he appears on TV. Marie once invited me to a date by offering to buy clothes for me, but I'm not in such a desperate situation. Can you believe that? So, he's not short on money either. And you, I heard your bonus is quite high. Marie said the president favors you and wants to make you his secretary. So you're not struggling financially, are you?
I'm not demanding payment because I'm struggling financially. It's a matter of rights.
Ah. I see. Are you possibly having an affair with the president? That makes sense now. It's strange that the president would be so biased toward you.
I don't know what's strange, but I would never do such a thing. I'm not having an affair, and everyone in the company knows that the president is a devoted husband. How could you say something so shameful?
Are you hiding behind that to avoid paying compensation? It's too bad. I'll expose your affair with the president.
Where's the evidence? Where is it?
Well, you're being favored so much that you're being asked to be the president's secretary. That's the best evidence.
Really foolish. Absolutely unbelievable. You can argue that tomorrow if you want. It seems the president's wife will also be present. With that, I left the house, leaving the divorce papers behind, and went to pick up Steve the next day. We headed to the company where the president, his wife, Marie, Ash's parents, and Steve and I were present. The president demanded compensation for the misuse of company expenses from Marie and Steve. Ash claimed compensation for breaking off the engagement, and I claimed compensation for the affair. Steve was ordered to pay $30,000 for my compensation, $20,000 for Ash's, and $10,000 for the company's expenses, totaling $60,000. Marie was also required to pay the same amount. Then, Steve, seizing the opportunity, started claiming that the president and I were having an affair. The president's wife burst into laughter. Ahaha. Just as you said.
See. There's always someone who says that in situations like this. But it's not true.
Erica? There's no way my husband is having an affair with her. I'm always present during all discussions and meals. It's quite amusing. Marie made the same claim yesterday, but I refuted it thoroughly. I didn't expect you to claim it too. Unfortunately, it's not true, and you both will have to take responsibility for your actions. With that, Steve collapsed. Ash then remarked,
To have such a wonderful wife and still have an affair is inexcusable as a man. Well, it's unthinkable to betray any woman.
He scoffed, and Steve, looking even more shocked, hung his head. We finalized the divorce, and both left the company. The news of the incident spread, and Steve found himself unable to find a job. Ash officially announced the broken engagement and made it public that the reason was infidelity. This led to a weekly magazine investigation, and the story was widely reported. Steve now works part-time at a factory, feeling quite embarrassed. Compensation payments have been made, so he's working somewhere. Hopefully, he's reflecting on his actions. Marie, on the other hand, went to Africa for volunteer work through the president's connections. She was sent to have her character corrected, and she couldn't engage in any affairs there, so some improvement is expected. As for me, I work at the company as the president's secretary. Despite the public embarrassment, everyone at the company shows me kindness. It's a very good company. I intend to continue working hard for these people.